Hi, this is Dennis Kitchen. You're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Glistening.
Moist.
It's like sweat on your trembling upper lip. Quivering.
Yeah.
Look, you don't see that. The mustache.
You know what? I was looking at all the books that came out this week, and I'm thinking, I almost hate to say it, but I believe it to be the truth. That DC is crushing Marvel.
Oh, dude, it's a rout. It's
not even
100%.
fair at this point. Yeah.
It's not.
Dude, when DAP does the weekly for I mean, a lot of our listeners are going to know this already, but DAP in our Slack every week starts a thing on New Comic Book Day on Wednesday. Does cool little Ohatmu or Who's Who intro of a character, and then leads into the list of all books, and then we all, well, not we all, but if you want to, you can post the 5 books that are coming out that day that you're most excited about. And I got to tell you, I can't remember the last time that, like, as I was scrolling down the list because it's alphabetical, that I then got to Marvel and thought, oh, I got to knock one of these other 5 I already have out. I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was going through the Marvel previews, and it's like, bring on the bad guys. Everything is nostalgia. Everything is a throwback. There's really nothing. Say what you will about, I mean, the core DC books. They're good, but they still prey upon nostalgia. But these absolute books, holy crap! Like, they're just smacking Marvel around.
Clowning them.
They're clowning them. We will never 100% clown you, because this, my friends, is 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 975.
Woo.
That was a
Big number.
Yep, 25 more until we say arrivederci.
We say, how you doing, Baltimore?
A goodbye party at Baltimore.
Yep.
Hi, yeah.
Okay.
You didn't say who you were.
I did say it, didn't I?
No.
Oh, and I'm incredibly inept and am Vince B.
You are Vince B. Thank heavens for that. I am David A. Price.
This is true, and of course, I am your soon-to-be AL MVP and Woodrow's anchor this year, Aaron Judge.
Cumbersome. Way cumbersome.
Right? It just rolls off the tongue.
He had to pull a handle on that one. It was so cumbersome.
Hey, listen, sometimes it requires heavy lifting, you know?
You are
He's a big man, so it took some heavy lifting.
You are not Mike Judge. You're Jason...
Aaron Judge.
You're not... You're not Aaron Judge. You're Jason Wood. Everybody here together to talk about the joy of comics. Yay! Brought to you by CheapGraphicNovels.com. CheapGraphicNovels.com has everything you want. Omnibus editions, OGNs, trade paperbacks, manga at drastically reduced prices. I'm giddy, and I'm screwing up because there's also something going on at CheapGraphicNovels.com right now that is going to set your world on fire. It's a spring sale with up to 90% off.
90 people.
That's crazy.
90.
That is absolutely crazy. I looked through the list and I had to back off. I'm like, ugh. I got enough book.
Yeah.
But then I ordered.
Much book.
Tempting, though.
I ordered all 4 volumes of Weird Science.
I got enough book. Let me order these 4 hardcovers.
It's like, okay.
I've read before.
But yeah, I have, but I'm stupid and I sold the Russ Cochran EC library reprints. Like an idiot, I sold my slipcase versions. So I have to go, I need some kind of representation of all of this stuff in my library. But anyway, and don't forget, my good people, if you are a first-time customer, please have some, moderation in your life. Order small, maybe 1 or 2 things, and then you will receive an email confirmation confirming your order, because that's what email confirmations do. And you're going to reply to that saying, Max, I never, ever would have known about the joys of CheapGraphicNovels.com if not for the boys at 11 O'Clock Comics, and Max is going to give you free shipping on your next order. Do the math.
$3.99.
That's crazy. But that's not all.
Crazy.
They have specials.
Ooh, do they have specials? They got... This week,
Ooh, Kanekore apple.
let me tell you about these specials, my friend. Absolute Promethea Book 1 hardcover. It's 2025 edition. $59.99. From multiple Eisner Award winners Alan Moore and J.H. Williams III, discover the stories that introduced Sophie Bangs, an ordinary college student in a weirdly futuristic New York, whose life will be changed by her research into the mythical warrior woman known as Promethea. Book 1 collects the first 12 issues. Animal Pound hardcover, $22.49. When an uprising puts a pound in control of the animals, they make quick comrades, united against everything that walks on two legs. But with this newfound power comes a sudden challenge. How best to lay the groundwork for this new democracy as they write their first constitution. Collects Animal Pound numbers 1 through 5. For Vince, Cyberpunk 2077 Kickdown trade paperback, $13.99. Mint is the sole survivor of her former crew, Buzz on the Street, as she sold them out to the NCPD to save herself. Now, badges are after her father's old crewmate, tech genius who goes by the name Kickdown. To clear her name, she'll have to toe the line between gangs and the NCPD. And there's one place where the gangs of Night City gather, where speed settles the score. In a crowd of animals, Maelstrom, and Tiger Claws gangsters, word travels fast, and that's all according to plan. Collects numbers 1 through 4. Kalui trade paperback. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. $20.99. This is it says step into the intimate, touching, and emotional dream world of Kalui. Hong Kong artist Little Thunder brings imagination to life with beauty, joy, and wonder through surreal art and sensual colors in this collection of 3 stories. And finally, Universal Monsters Frankenstein hardcover, $17.49. 2 covers. Deluxe hardcover tells the shocking creation story of the unforgettable monster in the original film, one body part at a time. This collects Universal Monsters Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, numbers 1 through 4.
Frankenstein.
Yeah. You were going so good, and then you shit the bed with the last one. That's okay. You didn't read it. You don't know. You don't know. Dap, you don't know.
I wanted to give Walsh some propers, but I understand. I completely understand.
But anyway, cheapgraphicnovels.com. 90% off selected items and more. Free shipping on your second order. Discounts on specially selected items. Crazy town. Cheapgraphicnovels.com. Yep.
Be there or be square.
All the cool kids are doing it. And I would like to do a little update. We don't usually do this, but yeah, regular listeners will know that whenever we love something, we say, "Oh, hope it comes out in a hardcover." And more often than not, whenever I say that about DC, Jason says, "Nah, son, not happening." But if you look at the current DC solicits for April, all of the Absolute books will be getting hardcover and softcover treatment.
I am blown away, excited, and am happy to acknowledge that I was wrong, because that's just great news.
And
It is.
Ultimate what's the Justice League book we've been talking about?
Justice League Unlimited?
Justice League Unlimited hardcover. Nuts.
Love it.
It's nuts. So yeah, something to look forward to. And you know where you can get them cheaply? Where? cheapgraphicnovels.com.
Yerp.
I was giddy as a fish when I saw that Absolute Wonder Woman was going to be a hardcover.
I know you were.
Yep. It's the
justifiably so.
It's the premier form. Yeah. It's one of their finest looking books it's a great book. So it should get the hardcover treatment. I don't care if they lose money. Give me a hardcover, but my wish.
I don't care as long as it's on my shelf.
That's right. But my wish came true. Yes.
Yeah.
I am drinking. Not
more the same.
Not the Ass Bomb Cabernet. No.
Ooh, okay.
Sam Adam.
All right.
The finest ale on the planet.
Good for what ails you.
That's true. Right. Just going to say that.
Yeah.
Nice. I am drinking H to the Izzo. Respect on it.
Oh, boy.
It's good shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
It's necessary.
It's the nectar of life, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Michter's Small Batch US 1 Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, not the American Unblended that I usually go for. This is just their just straight bourbon, because I'm feeling chilly and I want something to warm me up. So that's
Wow. Okay. Sounds good.
It is good.
Let's do this. Start off with a bang. We
Okay.
all read it. We all read it.
Okay.
We want to talk about it. Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Oh, because there were many things we all read this week, so I wasn't sure where you were going with it. But
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's the elephant in the room because it is just jaw-droppingly gorgeous. And I thought it was a wonderful read as well. It's written by Dennis Camp, who, if you remember last week, we were talking about assorted crisis events. He was also the writer on that book.
My man's on a run.
He is very much on a run. But it's not only written by Dennis Camp, it's illustrated by Javier Rodriguez. And boy, oh boy.
Who's a goddamn man among boys.
Yes, but it's a little, I mean, it's in the Rodriguez zone, but I think this is a little bit more experimental as the story demands, right? It's very, very colorful, like crazy colorful. And apparently everyone...
like psychedelic colors, like class, like 60s, like almost like day glow, like you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
yeah.
Apparently, everyone in this part of the DC universe smokes
all the time. Even hospital workers.
Yeah,
maybe
not only cigarettes, but they emit smoke from their bodies. It's John Jones, FBI agent, who is involved in a bombing, a terrorist bombing of a coffee shop, and
Literally involved.
He survives the bombing, but in the wake of the catastrophe, reality isn't acting the way he has known it to act, and he's seeing things in shape and color without shadow, a kaleidoscopic array of shapes and smoke emitting from people. And going in, I didn't know where Camp was going with this. And I'm thinking, okay, he's inhaling the smoke, and when he does inhale the smoke, like he's interviewing the killer, the suicide bomber's mother, and she's speaking to him, and she starts to emit smoke from her body, and he inhales the smoke, and then becomes privy to information that one would only know if they were able to read the minds of the person that they were interacting with. And I'm thinking, that's a cool way to work in the telepathy angle of John Jones, because that's one of his things, right? But in this absolute version, it's not straightforward telepathy. It's more of he ingests the essence of the person. And, and different memories take...
Almost like from Chew, like when Chew, like if he ate something, like he would it's a bit like inhaling mind-altering drugs, right? Because his mind is taking on a different path after he inhales the stuff. It's trippy. And so different memories and different people emit different colors. It is just, I think it's a virtuoso performance by these guys. I don't want to say this because, the hype beast will eventually come up, but I really enjoy Absolute Wonder Woman. This one clicks the most with me so far. This single issue. I don't know where it's going after this, which is nice because we've only been given snippets. Like, what happened to him when the bomb blew up? Why is he able to do this? Yeah, and he doesn't seem to know, at least fully, that he's a Martian. Like, he gets, like, these flashes, but he doesn't... It's not clear that he even knows that he's a Martian fully.
His son does, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, right. And, I mean, Rodriguez was such a virtuoso choice for this, too. I think, like you said, his art is perfect for this, and I love his work so much. I mean, everything he's done, and even that, like, the Mark Waid history of the Marvel Universe was incredible, and he's actually, Rodriguez, after this, is about to do the same thing with Waid at DC, I think. I thought it was, like, perfect comics. Like, I was like, okay. I'm like, and the thing, too, is, like, it is not, I think it doesn't suffer fools. Camp does not suffer fools. This is not an easily accessible book. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There's obviously, as you've described, a lot of surreal visuals and psychedelic visuals, and I think that it leaves you with more questions than answers, and and it had a noir vibe, and it really was completely what I want from these books, which most of them have delivered. It's a completely unique experience, despite it being a superhero book, and I treasured it. I'm with you. I thought it was fantastic. Now, I think Absolute Wonder Woman is like one of the best books the Big Two have put out in years. So I don't know I'm ready after one issue to say Martian Manhunter's above that, but I do feel comfortable saying if this visual approach and the vibe of this first issue continue, it will be over Absolute Batman for me as my second favorite book of this.
Well, I'm specifically talking about not only the art. The art is phenomenal, but the themes and the concepts and the psychedelic, trippy, mind-altering approach to the story. Sure. That resonates with me faster and easier than reworking Diana's mythology. I mean, it's great, and it's Wonder Woman is a completely captivating book. I'm not going to downplay it. It's a great book, but this is more in line with my sensibilities.
Sure.
Which, again, it could go way off the rails. Who knows? But this first issue was like, oh yes, please give me many, many more issues of this. Flat color, I'm powerless. You drop flat color on a page, this what's the word? There's a mechanic here that, I mean, you could do flat, anybody can do flat color, and it's just going to look like lackluster art. But the pairings that Rodriguez does, the purple on the yellow, or purple, or like a violet-ish on an orange with a blue shirt and like a green background, shut up. That's crazy. Every panel's like a black light poster. Like, it's just so great.
Yep. What'd you think?
And you even have Martian vision.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing.
Me too.
Because you know the cheap ass paper DC uses is really thin. So if you hold this bitch up, you're gonna see the opposite side of it. It's amazing.
Yes, you are.
I tried to I flipped the punchline page and tried to merge the two images, and the proportion of our featured image is a wide horizontal, and it didn't really work. So I used the bottom part where Jones is on his back, and the Martian essence or whatever that is. That's our featured image for this week.
Nice.
But I gave it a shot. I wanted to try and merge them in digitally instead of physically. But I think the joy is actually holding that paper up as detailed in the how-to part. It's so awesome. Yeah. It
really is. It really is.
I hope there's more of that. That, stare through the page and the bleed through of the image on the back. That's great stuff. I don't believe I've seen that, if not in a long time, ever.
Yeah, and the cool thing too we should mention is that the visual representation of John Johns as a Martian is very much like a cubist, like being, like, not at all, like very angular and not like anatomically, like humanoid per se, which is pretty neat. Like, I love that. I love that because why shouldn't a Martian be like? Why doesn't it have to be humanoid only with green skin, right? Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, there should be a component of alien races that our mind cannot wrap around. So
exactly.
We translate it into shape and color. Like, that's great.
Yeah, not to like go off on a tangent, but it's one of the things I love about the design of that they do in Nice House on the Lake, right? Or because it's the same thing. Like, the aliens that
I need to
put them all in these houses are like represented visually in the work, like as these like out of, like, they're fuzzy, like when they, like, you can't see them for what they are, like they're hard to, it's like they're amorphous and fuzzy, and I love that because it's like they're just not of this plane, so you can't even really conceptualize what you're looking at.
Yep.
So
Lovecraft
home run, absolute home run.
Shit'll break your brain.
Yep.
Dap, we walked all over you like a cheap rug.
Well,
like
on the
like
cheap.
a $2 hua.
Yep.
I loved it. I mean, just, it's one of those books where as soon as I finished it, I wanted to reread it because there are little things that that you pick up. I mean, yeah, there you do see people smoking, but I think it wasn't really until my second go through that like I realized how many people were smoking.
It's like Cancer City.
It really is, and it's everybody wearing green. It's everybody practically in. I mean, yes, you have a couple of old people, but I mean, it's basically everybody who works in the hospital. But and of course you've got the one prick who seems to have it out for Jones.
Yeah,
but yeah, and trying to understand why John behaves this way towards his wife, and obviously there's something driving him. He needs to solve this. He wants to find out about this bomb, and so no time off. I'm coming back early. No vacations, and so something is working him over on this, and I don't know. I want to know how the family came to be. How he met this woman, he married her, they have a child, and how did that happen if he's actually a Martian? So I have so many questions, and I hope we get answers, but I am really, really looking forward to seeing it, to seeing how all of this is going to play out. It's just I've enjoyed everything about this first issue, and yeah, I mean, not going to rank everything after one issue, but yeah, it's right now, first issue, it's right behind Absolute Wonder Woman for me. I think it looks amazing. I'm confident in Camp based on his resume. So yeah, and even before the Bwahaha era, when we had the Detroit League, or the league that version of the league with Five and Gypsy that they had before the reboot, where Martian Manhunter was pretty much there, or at least a leader. Always been a fan of the character, but to see a take like this, I'm all in for it. I don't know if there really is. I know we had the Riley drawn miniseries a couple years ago, but I don't know how many Martian Manhunter purists there are in the world that
true.
Look at this and think, they ruined my character. I'm all for certain characters being reworked and being introduced to new readers in a new way. So I'm really happy that this book, first issue at least, exists. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more.
Well, you're definitely not Graham Nolan then.
No, I am not.
Yeah.
In what ways than one?
Yeah, I love Doc Croc, the guy with the doctor with the pink Crocs on. Like, that guy's really cool. And
except the Crocs.
No,
although shout out to Dan T. It was like Dan T. Got a cameo in this book.
Yeah.
And Flippa, yeah, because he's all about those Crocs too.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
I mean, if you line up all of the Absolute books, this one is the most atypical. It is a very challenging, very experimental take on a time-worn character. I just think that's why it's the standout for me, because they said, fuck it, let's just do something radically different with this character, and I love that. Strip it down and rework it and dip it in Dayglow paint. I'm all there.
We also should mention too, I mean, like, it's clearly a little different because, at least, well, we don't know. I mean, obviously it's first issue, but in this he's heterosexual, married seemingly happily, and has a kid.
But the fact that he doesn't embrace the relationship may be due to the fact that he's not entirely or completely human.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think he isn't human, obviously, right? He's a Martian. But I'm saying, like, I don't know that we ever, well, I guess it's possible, but we certainly never heard or thought that like that the physiologies of Martian Manhunter could, that he could have kids, like,
right?
Because obviously his kid's half Martian, but
we don't completely know. Like he could be,
if it's even his kid,
it could go a lot of different ways. Like he could be 100% Martian, or the story could take a weird turn, and he could be reliving something, or he could be a vessel for the Martian character. Like who knows? We don't know, which is great.
Yeah.
But
because even where it says memory of your dad finding cigarettes under your mattress, and dad's ears are. Dad doesn't look all that human either.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But he could also just be, a boxer with the cauliflower ears. But yeah, there's the whole, and I also love the fact that because it's Rodriguez, that it looks like it looks like a book from the late 50s, early 60s.
If they all look this good. Yeah.
I know. Whether it's the clothes and the way people just, it's just.
Yeah. It's definitely stuck in time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've appreciated that about the Absolute books, how they all, of the 6, with the 6th one coming out, whether we end up getting, I kind of don't want a crossover. I like the fact that, I hope, it would be my dream if these books never crossed over, if these characters never met in this Absolute universe, but I love that each one looks unique. There's no bullpen. There's no house style for these books, at least not yet. Right. Every single, whether it's Hayden or Nick or now Javier, like every single book looks different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, the Absolute love train made me jump in the tracks with Green Lantern because I don't like anything I'm seeing here. This book is.
I'm not surprised you're not a fan.
This book is like saltpeter to me. Yeah.
Wait, it didn't come out yet, did it?
No, but there's a preview.
No, the preview pages are in the back, though.
In the back.
Oh, I didn't look at them. Okay.
Yeah. Not my speed.
Who drew it?
Janoy Lindsay.
Don't know them.
He they've drawn they've drawn a few other DC books. They might have was it Batwing or but I think they've worked with Ridley in the past. Al Ewing is writing the Green Lantern book, so I mean it should. I'm sure the concepts will be cool. I'll be there to check out the first issue, of course.
Yeah,
but I don't. It might end up ranking next to Absolute Superman for me.
Okay.
But whatever. I guess I'll read the first issue.
It's 3 pages, 4 with a double page.
Yeah, but look at that. It's no.
I know.
Hey, enjoy.
Speaking of the Absolute Wonder Woman #6, different artist.
Well,
who did it?
It's 2-parter. The person who did the cull with
Matthias Iulis.
Yeah.
Who
and I don't mind the art. It's obviously not Hayden, but it's a 2-parter, so I'm guessing Hayden's getting a little bit of a break. I was just starting to flip through it before we sat down tonight, so I didn't finish it yet.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the art at all. A lot more polished, obviously, like you said, like the cull. If people read the cull, then you know that. But way more polished than when I say polished, like almost like artificially, like doesn't have that organic,
a lot more
realism that Hayden Sherman has. But good though. I wasn't mad at it, especially because it's only a fill-in. So wasn't mad at it. So
where is this?
All gooch. What's that?
What issue number is the Absolute Wonder Woman?
6. It's a like Dap said, it's a 2-issue like mini arc.
So you'll get
the lady was a tiger.
You'll get these 2 issues in the first hardcover then, because it's issues 1 to 7.
There you go.
Yeah.
And there's a Lil Diana backup by Kelly and Dustin Goin.
Oh man, yeah, he's the go-to guy for the chibi, the little super
he's
deformed.
He's the Scotty of DC. He does the
DC. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. They was going to do the chibi kids.
That's all right. It's okay.
Yeah, I bet it pays good money, man. And he does
it well though.
He's the one out there telling everybody that people don't get paid good money if you're not smart.
So I guess we have an Absolute-O-Rama.
I guess so.
Look at that.
Look at that.
What else do we have to talk about? Jason, what you got?
Well, putting aside some of the other things that we all read together, I did want to shout out 2 single issues. One, first up, Bitter Root, The Next Movement, number 1 of 5. This is a book, of course, very near and dear to our hearts because it is drawn amazingly so by our good friend Mr. Sanford Greene. This is also a book that some of y'all may recall. I actually hosted a panel with the 3 gentlemen who create this book. What was it? 3 years ago now, I think. Right? It was 3 years ago, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it was 3 heroes ago that I hosted a panel where they talked about this next phase of Bitter Root, and it, for reasons, comics being comics, it took them 3 years to finally be able to get the book out. But man, oh man, it was worth the wait. For those that didn't read it or don't remember the original Bitter Root run, it's a series about a group of a family called the Sangarais, and they are they live in the South, the U.S. And the first run of the book took place in the 1940s, and it was all about them. Basically, were their lot in life was to defend the world against the Xenu, which were basically kaiju, like monsters in their world, and they fought them. And then the book also had a very potent and powerful, racial and civil rights contingent because it's a black family in the South in the 1940s. And it was fantastic. One of my favorite series that came out during that time, and it won an Eisner for best new series when it launched. So we're back in the world, but it's now in the mid 1960s. So it's actually months before the civil rights, before we get the Civil Rights Act. So it's almost 20 years later, and so of course, as you might expect, the Sangarai family is still doing their thing, but it's a different collection of family members. It's a lot of the cousins and kids of the cast of characters that we came to know for in the first run. And in this first issue, I'll avoid too many specific spoilers, but they imply that many of the characters that we knew from the first run are dead now, as part of this sort of ongoing fight against the Xenu. Now, that may or may not be true. We get some hints as the book goes on that maybe is true, or at least maybe the youngsters don't realize it, but it seems like at least some of them are still alive, so that's cool. But yeah, man, they jump right into it. So like I said, it's right before it's right in the middle of the civil rights movement. And the opening scene is in Kentucky, like rural Kentucky, and it's like a school bus full of people that are coming. Either I assume because it's nighttime, they're coming from a civil rights protest. So it's a bus full of mainly black people, and then if there's a few like white people sprinkled in, which I was reading to be like they were allies, right? Like participating in the protest, but the bus gets pulled over by the Popo, right? Deep, 1960s, deep South Kentucky cops. And a white cop gets out of the car, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. But like, instead of it being, what you would expect, which is like these cops giving him a hard time and being racist, the cop's a Xenu, and he's like a Cthulhu Xenu. He's like a gigantic tentacles fly out of his body, and he kills everybody in the bus. And that's the opening scene. And so that's the way the Sangarai work, right, is they find out about Xenu attacks around the country, and they have to go and try and stop them. And so that's what this is. We start meeting the rest of the new family and the new team members, and they're heading there to figure out what the fuck's going on. And we also get intonations that this is not an isolated incident, that other incidents of similar ilk have been happening across the country. And that's pretty much the setup for the first book, introducing the new characters, figuring out how they tie into the old characters, setting up the new motif. And the other thing worth mentioning is that whereas in the 1940s it was widely understood and believed that the Xenu existed and that the Sangarais were fighting the good fight, as the country has evolved, most of the country now believes this all to be BS and like a folklore. like the Jersey Devil or something, and it's not real, and it's like like kind of the way we think about voodoo, right? Like most people think voodoo is bullshit, right? And zombies are bullshit, and and all that stuff, and so they now have this extra tough thing because everyone thinks that what they're doing is total crap. So brilliant stuff, man. Like, again, it was great to see these guys back together. I think they're a terrific trio, and obviously we're all massive fans of Sanford's art. So absolute home run first issue. Can't wait for the rest of the series, and I hope we really aren't only getting 5 issues of this and then a bunch of years. That would be a sin. So I hope this is the first arc, and they have a couple arcs planned in this time period, because it's a perfect time period to continue the story.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I did look through it. Like, my man Sanford, holy crap.
He's great. It's crazy.
It's just
crazy.
ridiculous. I don't want to say the art's different than the original Bitterroot, but it seems to be more, it seems darker, this first issue. But the tone is a bit darker.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, I realized I didn't mention, I keep saying the trio. It's Sanford and Chuck Brown and David Walker. Chuck and David are writers, but they're all listed as creators in the book, because Sanford has a big hand in the plotting and story development too. But so I should. And similarly, seemingly the new letterer who is everywhere, Hassan Otmani El is their letterer. I don't believe he was a letterer in there. Maybe he was, but I don't think he was the letterer in the original series.
He did the Martian Manhunter.
So, he did. He's everywhere, man.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
He's the Jordy Belair of letters.
And also, what was cool is who edited this book? Which you don't think of Image as being a place with like editors who have a creative lens, right? Like most of the time, because Image is do it yourself, the editors are largely like editors, like proofreaders. Shelley Bond is the editor.
Wow.
So I knew she went. I remember she went to. I forgot. I mean, I remembered after seeing her name that she got hired at Image, but we got to talk to Sanford about this to see, like, is Shelley helping curate books now, or like I wonder what her role is.
He'll give us the details.
He will.
Yeah, he will.
I don't know what we ever did, but Sanford likes us, which is weird, right?
Yeah,
because he's awesome.
Sure. He is.
Oh yeah, this is a good-looking damn book.
Oh, it's gorgeous, man. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just sad that my boy is repped by Felix now, because these pages are going to be a lot more than what it cost me to get the first set of bit.
Oh, he's getting paid. Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
See, it's not all about you, though. That's the thing.
I mean, I'm the star of my story, but yes, it's not all about me for everybody else. Yes.
It's not an NPC.
Just being ghostwritten by me.
There you go.
I just hope that when this and whatever follows it gets collected, it looks real nice next to that big ass omnibus that they put out a couple years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hope they do it Treasury Edition sides, just that it doesn't
just
fit.
piss me off.
Yes.
Love you too.
I appreciate that.
I think they should do like an artist edition.
Yeah, right. Massive.
For sure.
Massive.
Yeah.
How about the? I thought last previews was supposed to be the send off, but there's another previews this month.
There's another previews. How thin is it?
Wait,
I've gone through it. Albeit it's the digital one, but yeah, I've gone through it. It's
okay.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting. Because they said it was the last previews.
Well, they miscalculated. There's another one.
Oh man, I hope that dude on eBay isn't too pissed.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of that, but before we continue on the comics talk, you that's a great segue. We should mention, at least because it is massive news, that the Diamond properties, including Diamond Comics Distribution, were all went through their bankruptcy auction and sale this week. And Alliance Entertainment acquired the majority of the assets, including Diamond Comic Distributors. Alliance Entertainment is a fairly large, couple $100 million. Their sales are actually close to $1 billion, but in terms of their market cap, a massive distributor based in, I think, Florida, and they distribute all kinds of physical collectibles. So toys, cards, tchotchkes, like they're publicly traded, and so they spent I think between $40 and $50 million. I don't know if the official number has been published yet, but to acquire it all, and then there's been some follow up about sort of their plans for it, and they've been pretty clear that they're not in the business. They even said that CEO's like, well, I'm not in the business of selling $3 things that don't turn a profit. He's like, it's very hard to make a profit and trying to sell lots and lots of things that cost a few dollars. So, and then someone said, well, what about the comics? He's like, well, we didn't really do this for the comics. So I was like, huh. So I have no idea like what that means. I'm not going to even begin to speculate what that means for the direct market and whether it means they're going to get shittier service from the Diamond or Diamond. Like, I don't know what it means. Probably nobody does. But it does seem to me that hearing them say that so openly already that they didn't do this for the comics lets me know that this is probably halcyon times for our friends at Lunar and Christina and Cam, because like a lot of publishers already departed Diamond after the bankruptcy to go to either Lunar or to Penguin Random House PRH, and it would seem to me that's like, if I'm guessing, I would assume they're going to keep everybody they got from Diamond and maybe keep adding. I would not assume that this purchase by a better capitalized larger company means that Diamond's going to try and like become the old Diamond. I don't think that's what it's about.
I read the article that was the one you're talking about that was actually linked on our Slack, and not a huge vote of confidence for these people. So.
No. CEO literally didn't even know anything about comics. Like, he even said he had never heard of Diamond until like one of their people put him onto this as a potential acquisition like a month ago. So I was like, okay.
End of the day, I really don't think anything is going to change for us or for comic shops. So
you mean as end consumers,
right?
Yeah. Right.
That's okay if I'm able to get what little singles I get effortlessly, as I have for the past 15 how many years, then great.
1,000.
1,000, yes.
You old.
Yeah. Well, no, I've been going to comic shops in one way or another since 84, 83, 84. Because I bought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 off a rack, or off a stack as it was, and so I
was going to joke with you about how old that makes you, but honestly, I'm not too far off that. Like I said, I started buying comics. Like, I had a pull list before '86 because I know that's when. Well,
I bought comics before that. I just went to the traditional newsstand to get them, and it was like
cross your
fingers.
No, I'm saying my journey started pretty much with the direct market. Like,
right.
Yeah.
You're only 10 years younger than I am.
Yes, that is correct.
That's not a huge gap.
It's a big difference between 50 and 60, though, let's be honest.
Well,
not for you. You're a young 60.
Thank you.
You're vibrant. Look at
you. Did you win the lottery or something today? You get a bonus?
Nah, draft is over. You didn't even notice. We're through it. We're good.
Well, I heard dinging and danging and stuff. I didn't want to say anything, but it was like it's a ripping and tearing.
Banging and clanging.
Ripping and tearing.
All right, let's do this. We all read this.
You've already, by the way, you already preempted it by saying it's the best thing you read this week on the Slack. You already told people that.
Well, I do have to be honest, right? That's what my very few Slack posts. I don't like to spill the beans about what I'm talking about on the show, but I had to say this was the best thing I read this week. I'm completely befuddled and bewildered and gobsmacked and just aghast. All those words that this book is their first work. This is their debut graphic novel. Like, how does someone leap into the comics arena this fully formed, and this is your first graphic novel? How does that happen? It's crazy. But I'll let you know what I'm talking about, just in case you're scratching your head wondering, huh? This was published by our fine friends at Silver Sprocket. It is a graphic novel by Paige Hender. It is called The Confessional. And once again, Silver Sprocket has dipped into their vast resources of foil. And it is a hardcover with red foil on the cover. It is all the pages are very tastefully done with blue ink and variations of red-ish spot color. So it's basically a one-color book with blue line art. And holy hell, I mean, you're going to make fun of me, Jason, but I read it. I was in love with it by the end, and I closed the cover and read it again.
My man.
Yep.
I am so in love with this book, I can't even tell you. What is it about? You're asking. Well, it's about a young woman named Cora, whose parents, unfortunately, were stricken with consumption and died. And she had the malady as well, and was on her way out, dying, as it were, until she was saved. How does one save a young girl dying with consumption? Well, she was turned by a female vampire named Dolores. Yep, put the bite on her, turned her into a vampire, and then sort of pseudo adopted her as her sister, and basically assumed parental responsibility for the girl in a way. So what does a good parent do?
A vampire sire, like it's her sire. So
What does a good parental surrogate do? Well, they bring her to a brothel / speakeasy in New Orleans, where a lot of the denizens of this establishment are comely young ladies, but they also happen to be vampires. So in order to sustain themselves, what they do is they use their feminine wiles to lure gentlemen to a room upstairs, and one thing leads to another, and they feed, but they don't kill. They use the men as like a drive-through. They get their sustenance. The men enjoy themselves, and the police commissioner is down with it. But the thing about Cora is very young. What is she, 22? But she looks younger. And Cora can't feed without killing the target. She's very inexperienced because Cora thinks that because she was turned into an infernal creature of the night, that her soul was somehow sacrificed as well. And she feels like she's not on a good path spiritually, that she's not going to be looked upon with favor by whatever appears at the end of her days. So she's guilty. She feels bad. And what does she do? She turns to the Catholic Church to somehow smooth over the fact that she is a vampire. And she goes to church, and she wears a crucifix around her neck, which makes her, the crucifix sears itself into her breast. So she's in pain. But it's like self-flagellation, when Father, I've wronged thee, and they whip the shit out of themselves. It's kind of like that, where she feels like she needs to have some kind of, she needs to beat herself up to atone for the fact that she's a vampire. And in the church, she gets, rather close to a Catholic priest named, Father Orville Thibodeau, who's a piece of fucking work. And she falls in love with him. And he uses that fact to manipulate her and coerce her into doing his dirty work. What do I mean by that? Well, Father Thibodeau is a serial killer. Yep. He judges, and if he finds people unworthy, people who he believes have sinned against God or have somehow wronged his boss, he'll take them out. And he thinks it'll be much easier to do that if he has an all-powerful female vampire in his back pocket. And it does work for a period of time. Yeah. But the story turns, it changes, it spins. I don't want to exactly get too deep into it because I think there are a number of reveals in this book that are amazing, and I love them. One of the biggest reveals to me was when Cora first she goes full-on vampire. You never go full-on vampire. She completely transforms, and she is sexy as friggin' hell.
I love that version. Yeah,
the way she looks,
and she has an inverted cross on her body. It's just a great design. She's smoking hot. But Orville just manipulates her emotions in a very, very disgusting way. And does she pick up on it? Do her sisters kind of maybe nudge her a little bit here and there? You have to read it to find out, but I thought it was absolutely magnificent. Flawless even.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there. I mean, you guys know I'm an easy mark for vampire stories, right? So, like, I mean, like it doesn't take much for me to enjoy a vampire story. This definitely has, if we ever get a chance to talk to Paige Hender, I would imagine she is a big fan of the Anne Rice vampire world.
Well, yeah, what goes better with vampires than New Orleans?
That's what I mean, New Orleans, and also
maybe.
Yeah, also the romantic. It's a romantic, sexy. There's an eroticism to the book.
Yes.
I'm always down for some kind of sacrilegious vibe, right? So like I'm here for that, right? Like the dirty priest being a serial killer. That's fun. But like you said, I mean, to me, the thing that really just sucked me in is her artwork. I just think it's gorgeous. It's of a school that I'm a fan of, and I just think that the way that she designed all the characters and their these big and expressive eyes, and it just was fantastic. Yeah, for just like you said, there's really nothing. I mean, like the story, the pacing, the sequentials, the line work. I just thought it was all great, and I don't know how long it took her to do this, or if this is like a life's project. I don't even know how old I don't even know how old Miss Hender is, but man, oh man, I'm excited for what's to come. You see something like this as a debut, and you think, Jesus, what we're gonna have probably a lot of years of great stuff coming from her.
Right.
So I'm excited.
And debut? What? Debut graphic novel? Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. And if you gave me carte blanche and you said, my dude, I'm going to buy a page of original art. What do you want? On me. Just pick one. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get into detail on the specifics of the scene, but the double page spread where she's putting the bite on someone, it is a heartbreaking scene. It doesn't end well for a character or herself. Like, this completely shatters her, and I'm thinking that double page spread is absolutely wonderful. It's so beautiful. But if that was taken, I would buy the page where we first see her go full vampire. Mm-hmm. Looking over the back of her. Yeah, so nice.
I love that. I love that panel so much.
Her artwork reminds me a lot of Rachel Smythe, who does Lore Olympus.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I'm also a big fan of. So yeah, I'm here for it.
But
I hope we get to meet her. I hope she's planning on doing some cons and stuff. Like,
yeah,
she's only. I mean, just to show you how this is a whole new thing. She's got less than 1,000 Instagram followers. I expect that will change very rapidly as people start getting this book, in their hands. But like, and then one of her most recent posts is her signing. She's like, "Oh, my very first signing of my very first book. Words can't describe how perfect today was." And that was a week ago. Oh. So like, that's awesome,
And it is Silver Sprocket. So there is
Yes,
a
it is.
queer component to it too, which I mean that's
True.
they cater to everyone, which is wonderful. There are two vampires, Dolores and her great love Greta, and Greta has. In the back of the book, there is a sketchbook of sorts, but it's also used as a bit of an ohatmu that details each of the female vampires that live within the speakeasy / brothel. And it not only tells you when they were born, it tells you when they were turned and at what age. Like, I think that's really comprehensive addition to the book, where it's like, you don't need to know that. You don't need that to know that Lydia was turned at age 31, but it just adds immeasurably to the narrative for me. But anyway, Dolores and Greta. Greta has a lot of tattoos on her legs that tell her life story. And Paige says, if you're lucky and wealthy enough to unveil their entirety, you'll read the pictographic tale, blah, blah, blah. So if you can get her clothes off, you could see up near the nether regions will be, the complete story of her life. Like, that's just awesome to me. Like, this character, right?
Very hot, yeah.
Yeah, it's super
Absolutely.
hot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yikes. Where are they going to go from here?
And I assume she works traditionally.
I sure hope so. It looks like
I
it.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the line looks like there are inaccuracies a lot of in the shading that Clip Studio or something could probably approximate it, but this just looks real to me.
Yeah.
Thank
I
goodness
do
too.
love to get that image of Cora as a tattoo.
Oh, nice. And I even give her credit for tweaking the vampire mythology to suit her story, because in this world, the vampires can go out in the sun. If
Right.
they fit.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Not
which is
without pain, though.
Right.
Right, but I'm saying, like, but it's not like, obviously in most vampire, the sun just is instant death. So I like that. I like that she.
If she if she tops it off with the blood before she goes out, it's much more easier to manage the sunlight. But if
It's like SPFB.
Yes, if she goes out on an empty stomach, it's not going to be good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really nice stuff. And in case you're wondering, you should go out and get it. The price on this little puppy is a very reasonable $29.99 for a hardcover that is, I would say, there's no page numbers, right? But it seems to be. Oh, there is. Yeah, there's page numbers.
There is.
It's at least 200 pages, right? Roughly 200 pages. You need to get it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, go ahead. Dan. Yeah.
No, it is. It was on the. It was part of the list of specials last week on the Slack. $22.49 at Cheap Graphic Novels.
Oh man, that's a no-brainer.
186 story pages, and then, like you said, there's kind of an hot mood kind of vibe after that. Yeah.
And it takes place in 1922, so Roaring 20s.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah,
right
she was,
before the country went to hell in a handbasket. With the
Yeah, I mean, she's dressed like, she basically looks like a
Flapper.
very young, almost teenager flapper. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think the fact that I actually saw New Orleans firsthand added to this book immeasurably. Like, you could see
Nice.
pictures of New Orleans and be like, oh yeah, okay, that's I get it. But if you've actually walked the streets, like there was one panel where the bi-level, the split level with the railings on it and everything in the windows. I was like, holy shit, I feel like I walked by that place when I was down there. Like, it's very real.
Yeah, I concur.
And the physical dimensions, the size of it is just perfect. I believe. Well, I'll talk about the other book we got when we get to it, but the package from Silver Sprocket last week. I was standing up and I read basically almost half of it just standing there, because I picked it up. I was standing up to walk into the other room. I pick this book up and I just start flipping through it, and then I go back to the beginning of it, and I find myself just standing in the living room reading half this book until I finally decided to sit down. I was sucked in from the beginning and just completely in love with, well, I was going to say with the characters, with the exception of a couple, but rightfully so. But it is it's a remarkable first entry. I cannot wait to see what Paige does from here.
Absolutely. And we shout them out all the time, so people are probably tired of it, but fucking mad props to Silver Sprocket, dude. For like a small press publisher, they do everything right. Like you said before, Vince,
they sure do.
Every book is super well produced. They don't. I mean, they spend a fortune relative to other small press publishers on the quality of the books. They obviously have like an exceptionally good PR, media relations department, because they send us these. I mean, they send each of us a copy of all of these hardcovers to cover, and I think we're doing our part. I mean, it's working in the sense that like we're loving these books and talking about them, but like there's no like payola. Like they don't like
no.
They could send us a box every month, and if we're not feeling it, we're not going to talk about it, And it's like, I mean, yes, we are fortunate we get lots of comps from lots of companies, but the vast preponderance of those days, understandably, are digital, and I don't have a problem with that because it's cost effective for them to do it that way. But like the fact that they do it this way, and I'm sure we're not the only ones. I mean, I don't hear of many comic podcasts talking about Silver Sprocket on the regular, but that's their bad. But we obviously have no insight into their financials, but I hope they're doing really well. Like I hope it's a profitable, successful, fun endeavor for them, such that they can continue, because they're getting it right, and they've been getting it right now for a few years. They just seemingly are on it. So
well, I think they're very smart to send us physical copies, because I can open a PDF and there could be a digital representation of the end papers of a hardcover and all of the contents, but you cannot digitally come close to the smell of the paper and the ink, the feel of the book, the shine of the foil stamping on the front. More often than not, they're embossed or debossed. It's just that it's almost like they're a fledgling Fantagraphics. Like they're coming up and they see what Fantagraphics does. Fantagraphics does really good book publishing, right?
Yes.
They're across the board. But Silver Sprocket's looking at it, it's like, all right, we see your hardcover. We're going to one-up you with some die cut and maybe some foil stamping, and it's just like they're going that bit farther. And they seem to have an impeccable eye, a curatorial eye, on the artists that they choose to publish, because across the board, like there's something to love everywhere with this stuff at Silver Sprocket. Dap, why don't you just launch into Hourglass?
So we I remember last Thursday, I mentioned to Vince before Jason got on, before we kicked off the show, that it was a good mail day because the final 3 volumes of Terry and the Pirates arrived, as well as the Silver Sprocket box, and didn't dig into the box until Friday after work, and even later than that. So it's Friday night. We do everything we have to do. Wife retires upstairs, and I'm cleaning up downstairs, and then I remembered that I have the Silver Sprocket stuff. I pick up Hourglass, and just like with the Confessional, I'm standing in the kitchen reading Hourglass, and I finished it just still standing by the table. Like, chairs all around me, didn't bother to sit down. I was absolutely riveted, could be a word, but I couldn't put this book down, and I had to finish it. And Hourglass is not anything that I expected. It's by Barbara Mazzi, and the back of the book says the Hourglass is called many things: the perfect machine, the source of all life, the fountain of youth. It promises immortal comfort to the privileged, but it also looms over its creators, trapping them in this cycle. And Betterman than me could probably explain the concept of the Hourglass, but it's definitely something that is easy to understand when you're reading the book. And there's this, in this world, in this environment, it's the haves and the have-nots, and the haves have all the time in the world, and if you have the time, you don't age. But the people who don't have the time are the people are lower class, the workers, the people who actually keep the hourglass churning and making life better for the haves. So it's could be relevant, but there's one particular character, Martel, who isn't really a fan of the hourglass, and she has her reasons. And at first, when you're introduced to the character, when Martel first shows up, she comes across as a rich, entitled, almost brat. But we find out a few pages later that there's a reason why she's behaving this way. There's a reason why she visited the hourglass that day. And when her mom comes back home, I want to say to visit, but when she comes back home, mom isn't a loving, caring parent. She may claim to be, but she's been absent for the past 5 years. She has not been home. So knowing that she has all this time in the world, she gets bored easily. She wants to do other things, and spending time with her daughter, raising a daughter, is not something that factors into her plans. So Martel, rightfully so, feels some kind of way. And Martel has a friend, 20, who has been working on who's one of the workers on the hourglass. And 20 is one of about 5 interns, apprentices, who are trying to. The goal is to get a job, to be able to work, and on the hourglass as a profession. But they are from 2 different worlds. 20 and Martel are definitely not. They didn't grow up in the same circle. So there's a bit of an attraction there. There's questions raised. There's a little bit of 20 tolerates Martel, and then of course other things come into light. I thought the way everything was explained, the way it plays out, I'm not going to call it a punishment, but what actually happens at the end of the book, I thought was extremely fitting for all involved. It ends the way I think it should have ended. I'm glad that the events unfolded the way they did, but it definitely ended way different than I expected it. Than I expected the story to go when I started reading it. I thought Mazzi's art is there's some pages, some panels that just look amazing. There's it's primarily a kind of a black and white, almost gray tone in spots, but there are spots of gold yellow in appropriate moments. And so, like the Confessional with the blue and pink, this is mostly black and gold, more on the black. But yeah, I think for a quick little, because it is not a long story, just over 100 pages story wise, and we're thrown into this world with these characters, and there's no text piece, there's no narrator telling you about what you're about to witness and get involved with. You pick it up as you're reading it, and which is something else that I appreciate, because I don't want to be spoon-fed. I like figuring out what's going on with this world as we turn the page, as we get through it. I thought I thought both of them. Both of these books are This is absolutely one of my favorite care packages from Silver Sprocket. But Hourglass, I absolutely adored, and I before I read it, but I didn't post it on our internal Slack list until the next morning when I read the Confessional, and that's when I noticed that Vince had the books up. So he had the Confessional first, and then so I was almost copying Vince throughout the weekend in the books that he was reading and posted. But I thought the Hourglass was absolutely great. I'm not going to try to weigh which one I preferred more than the other, because I really did enjoy Hourglass. But yeah, I thought it looks great. It's a paperback, but it is there's a lot in these pages that I found. But yeah, I really did like it a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. I think the concept is a tad bit heavy-handed.
Sure. Yeah.
You have this machine that props up the elites and funnels time. Jason, the machine bestows time upon the haves, and they clamp this device to the back of your neck, and you're literally sandblasted with the number of years you have to exist. And I forget what the number is, but 900 is not out of the realm of possibility. So these people basically live for millennia, right? The haves, but then you have the have-nots working on the machine, and they don't have tattoos of any kind. So it's just an example of the wealth divide, social wealth, literal wealth. They're rich with time, right? The elites. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was fun. The main character is inquisitive and has no boundaries because she's an elite, or the daughter of an elite. And she fucks around with the machine and she pulls a gear off it. And that kind of sends the entire support crew into a spiral. Like, holy shit, there's something off about the machine and we have to fix it because all of the elites are going to wig out, and we must serve the elites. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm, the thing that resonated more with me was the love story between the two girls, as opposed to the actual culture gap between these people. I thought it was great. I liked it a lot. The art's much more stylized than Confessional. I mean, I don't want to say polished, but it's not as, there's not a lot of grit to Hourglass. It's a much more I don't want to say that either. It's just it's a cleaner approach than what Paige did. But I think Mazzi's art is wonderful as well. There's a lot of soulful eyes in this book.
A bit more on the manga side.
Yeah. I see some manga influence. I thought it was a fun read. But like Jason said about what were you talking about, one world under doom, that there were some topics covered that you have enough of that stuff outside your window and you don't want to be reminded of it. Hourglass was a bit like that for me. We see this shit every day where you get this 1% that buy elections, and then you have a bunch of people that don't have checks coming every month anymore. So we get it, and it's terrible, it's horrible, but right, it's a very good book.
We read to escape,
but it's the love story that got me, because if an elite can find love with a lower caste, then unquestionable, right? There's no things imposed on the relationship. They're just in love, and I think it was great. That was wonderful. That to me is more valuable than the fact that some people have a shit ton of money and other people have nothing. That's a fact of, unfortunately, life. I thought it was good, really good. And gold foil again. Is foil stamping traded on the market? Because Silver Sprocket must have a lot of damn stock in it, man.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Silver Sprocket. Just go to their website, check them out. Check out their
Sprocket.
books. We got Hourglass.
Rules, okay.
They do. Hourglass by Barbara Mazzi and The Confessional by Paige Herder. Both very worthy purchases.
You heard her.
Jason, you were quiet. Fill my ears.
Well, I was really quiet because I haven't read it yet. I mean,
I know that. I know it.
yeah. Well, I got something that might be more up your alley because it's also about the elite, but it is a satirically fun look at a world that will probably never come to pass. But boy, a lot of people would love it if it did. And that is Free for All, which is a one shot. Yep. It's a one shot. It is at least for some of us, the much anticipated follow-on comic by Patrick Horvath. He obviously. My understanding is this one-shot idea was something he had already had in his quiver, and so after the success of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, which we now know we are getting a sequel to, but before that, Oni was like, "Yo, you're like hotter than fish grease. Like, what else you got?" And he said, "Well, I have this story that I've been playing around with for a while in my head, and it's small. It could be a 1 or 2 issue thing." And they were like, "Great, let's do it." So that's what became of Free for All. But the conceit is both going to sound familiar, but also really wonderfully unique, and which is as follows: it's gladiatorial combat, Hunger Games style or gladiator style, whatever you want to say. It's two people fighting inside of an arena, so it's more. But the premise is as follows. Unlike the Hunger Games, where it was basically a lottery and these poor citizens were picked with the hope of if you win, you get a better way of life. No. This is totally different. In this world, there's the World Finance League. And in the World Finance League, everybody over a certain net worth is subject to effectively a draft, like a military draft. So if you're one of these super rich people and your name is called in the lottery, you have a choice. You can either do what we already know in this world is the giving pledge, meaning you can give away half of your net worth to the public at large, and you're good. Like that's how you can fulfill your lottery obligation. Or if you don't want to give up your money, you can agree to gladiatorial combat. And it sounds absurd, but it's super fun because dude is running a pharmaceutical company. He hates him. He gets picked in the lottery. He doesn't give the money away, so he's got to fight. And he ends up fighting against this real estate tycoon who is the defending gladiator champion. He has won 21 fights, and these are to the death, mind you. He's won 21 fights, and the deal is if you win, if you go to the gladiator combat and you win, you get to keep your money. But if you lose, well, you're dead, and B, all of your money gets distributed to the public. So, pharmaceutical dude has to fight defending champ, real estate dude, and real estate dude wipes the floor with him. Literally, kills him brutally, and it's Horvath clearly loves the gore because this book too has tons of very, very explicit death and destruction. I'm not mad at that. But that's like sort of the entree, the prologue to setting it up. But the real premise of the book, the Free for All, is that I guess dude who's defending the champion, the 22-time champ who everybody loves because everybody loves the winning gladiator. He was once married and he swindled his wife when they were getting divorced out of basically her half of their massive multi-billion-dollar company, and so she has been training and for the chance to fight her ex-husband, and that's what but most of the story is about is her and her ex-husband fighting in the arena to the death for their money. And I won't tell you who wins. I won't tell you what happens after that person wins. But it was just a blast. Simple, fun story where you get to see the mega rich take their comeuppance because they're too greedy to give up half of the money that they would probably, if you've got $20 billion and you give up 10, your lifestyle's not changing. But the idea, and Horvath says in the back, like the reason he got this is he thought that these mega rich, multi-billionaires are so deluded that they would rather fight to the death. And, or at least some of them would. And that's the premise of the book. And it was super fun, one shot, Get in, get out. It'll definitely be in the running for my favorite one shot of the year when we do the Oscars, because well, we don't do it that way, but did we do it that way? If we did it that way anymore, certainly, that kind of thing. But yeah, I thought it was terrific, and it was fun seeing Horvath draw in a slightly different way, because this is a much more realistic setting, right? It's not Richard scary, animal people. It's actual humans fighting to the death in an arena. So good all around. I definitely recommend it, and it's a super quick read.
Yeah, co-signed on that.
I took a look at it. If Beneath the Trees looked like this, I probably would have read Beneath the Trees.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I thought the art on this was very attractive to my eyes in a rough, unmolded sense. Like the designs are really neat, but he doesn't belabor the point. Like the lines are very sparse, very spare. I think it looks good to my eyes. And I was like, wow, look at all this fucking blood. Like, this is great. The guy gets his head smashed flat. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting that you frame it that way, because I think it's clear from my review that I really enjoyed it too and thought the art was good. But I do think it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what people who loved Beneath the Trees think of this, because, as we know, Beneath the Trees, one of the draws is that he specifically mimics the visual aesthetic of Richard Scarry. Right? Like, that's the whole point of the book. And this is not that. Like, this is, and to your point, which is no surprise because you love this stuff, it is not a particularly polished, like, you're not, like, if you haven't read Beneath the Trees and you look at this, this isn't gonna look like someone that's like a master at line work. Like, this is very much more,
it's jittery. It's
yeah,
like,
there you go.
It's
That's
like coming. It's like if he drew the pages coming down. He had a hangover, or maybe he was got the DTs. It just looks like it's very immediate. It's very unfiltered, and I like that. There's no concern for. Well, I shouldn't say that because I'm not in Patrick's head. There seems to be very little concern for capturing the thing that he's drawing in exacting detail. Like, it's human body. You can tell it's human body, but it's very lightning quick, and I like that. I just like it. It's like, fuck you. This is it. This is what I'm drawing. I'm not going to polish it.
Yeah.
You get what you get. And I love that.
You don't get upset.
No. Yeah. It's very pleasing to my eyes. And it's cool. It's a one shot, but if you don't buy the single issue, like, where are you going to get this? Is there going to be like a Patrick Horvath anthology book or something?
I just assume you just get the single. I mean, get the single.
Yeah.
It's the nature of one shots. Where'd you get Sanford's Doom if you didn't get the? You gotta buy the issue, dude.
It's true, Mr. Logic.
That's right, dog. Gotta gets to get and get in where you fit in.
Sweet. What else? We still got some time here. Let's fill it with some comic.
Well, what else did you? I'm trying to see what else you guys read. Oh, I know what you guys read, because I talked about it a minute ago.
Yeah.
We can talk about this before you're in travel. So yeah,
we could do that.
Bring the room down with this, and then
it's a good thing.
Lift everybody up.
I actually bought this almost 3 years ago.
I did, and I will tell you, I ordered it almost. Well, 2 years to the day. So when I saw this on your list, Vince, I was like, I have this. I know I have it because I was rearranging the room and I saw it. So I ran upstairs, grabbed it, and as I'm reading it, I found the packing list from Fantagraphics inside this book that I was now using as a bookmark. So I bought this, Keeping Two, The Complete Works of Fanta Bukowski, and Dog Biscuits. And my order date was March 25th, 2023.
There you go.
So I've had this sitting here on this shelf. Well, I moved it to a shelf, but it's been in this room for 2 years now. Never read it. So we're not lying when we say we buy things we sit on them, and we don't have to buy anything new for years because we've got plenty of crap to still read.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Vince, continue.
No, it's, it's one of those things where there's not a whole lot of detail in the premise. I mean, Spa by Erik Svetoft is, there's proof in advertising. It's about a very high-end luxury spa.
Yes.
But the devil's in the details. And the details, a lot of them, really can't be communicated with language. No, yeah. Right?
This needs to be...
I watch a lot of paranormal videos, and one of the trademarks of that kind of stuff is like, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I wasn't really sure if it was there, and I turned and it wasn't there, but I had this really cloying, creepy feeling that there was something else in the room with me. And a lot of that is the aesthetic of Spa. Like, there'll be a single page panel that isn't really connected to the narrative, where you see somebody, with their feet in a pool or something, and maybe a tiny corner of the ceiling looks like it's undulating and it's creeping or dripping, and it looks like fleshy, meaty something, and so then the narrative progresses, and it's just, there are a number of stories going on here, whether it's this couple that seem to be followed by the dead, like they don't know if it's their house in the beginning, if it's their apartment, but they think it is, and the house is like littered with dead people. There's dead people in the bathroom. There's dead people in the fucking kitchen, in the hallway. There's flies. There's a desiccated, eyeless old man in the comfy chair, and they're like, hey, and the husband and the wife look like they could be twins. They look like they could be from the same parents. But one is male and one is female, and they seem to be attached. I don't know if they're married or if they're, what the deal is, but they're romantically involved because later in the book they're fucking. But they're like, hey, let's go take some time off. And they go to the spa, and the dead follow them to the spa. And then there's the director, who's a piece of work and lives in his father's shadow, and his assistant is secretly in love with him. And there's a pair of fix-it people that look like Cupid dolls you would win at a carnival, and instead of fixing things, they break the shit out of things, and everybody's okay with it. Like, I really can't tell you. It's a very surreal. It almost feels like an anthology because there's a lot of stories going on. There's like the father of the director makes an appearance. The director. There's this guy that can't seem to find his room. That's what I would call him. If I had to cast this movie, he would be a guy that can't find his room. And he gets impaled on a spear. What? Yeah, it's just
walking around with it. Just like,
yeah, like how long does it take for you to die? There's a chef who is he's put down by a guest, a very, very elite, wealthy guest comes, and he's very particular about everything. And the chef makes him a very special meal because he got the platinum plan. He's like one of the top tier. You roll out the red carpet for this guy, and the chef makes him this specially prepared meal, and he doesn't eat it. He finds fault with it. So when the chef hears about this, the chef goes right off the rails and completely transforms his physical appearance. I don't.
He shaves his mustache and dyes his hair, and he looks just like the elite
He looks just like the platinum guy. And then there's this fucking guy with huge ass lips that doesn't like anyone, obviously has something working on him where he feels inferior. I don't know, but he calls everyone losers, and things happen to him. Like to say this is trying and tell you exactly. There are a new worker is berated because he got a smudge of ick on his shirt, on his work shirt, that is because that the building is crawling with this otherworldly stuff. Yeah, who knows what it is, right? But he's reprimanded and he's forced to wear a pig snout in front of his coworkers, and there are waves of pigs that follow this guy around later on in the story. Like patrons in bathrobes with pig heads, giant pigs, realistic pigs, surreal pigs, batwing pigs. Like there's pigs, tons and tons of pigs in in this book. And it's, you can't explain it. You just got to turn off the part of your brain that wants to know. Like there's no knowing about this book. You experience the events. You try and parse them on a level that may or may not include language. I think language just like breaks apart when you try and delineate the events of this book. It's on an emotional, guttural, like primal level. You feel this stuff. It's kind of like Inland Empire. What the fuck is going on with the rabbits? What is happening? And that's kind of what this book is. It's like all of the Inland Empire rabbit scenes put together, but with shit falling from the ceiling and pigs, and it's weird. It's really, really weird.
I feel like the two maintenance workers that Erik probably watched some of the maintenance people on campus to get their work.
I read this in my comfy spot, which is also nice. Shared by my cat, and the little shit chewed the corner of it. I don't care. No, you know what? That even adds to it. Like that, she did me a favor, because this book, like I would not want a mint pristine copy of this book, because now that there's a flaw in the book, it's like that shit that's fallen from the ceiling. What the hell is happening in this book? It's so bizarre. But there's a scene right in the beginning, right, like maybe page 2. No, in fact, it is page 2, where a character is being bludgeoned by a stick with like spikes or nails hanging out of it, and later on in the narrative, it does a complete 360 and goes all the way back to that scene, but it's at the end of the book, and it's like, what? Wait a minute. What's going on with time? But it's not the same character, but it's the same characters perpetuating the violence. And it's like, I don't know. Ask me a question about this book. I could tell you the surface details, but as far as what any of it means, I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you about some of the characters, like the forlorn administrative assistant who just wants the director to notice her.
Yeah.
And you've got the masseuse. I mean, there are just some weird-ass characters in this book. But as far as what their purpose is, and you've got the one dude who's extorting with his buddy who's dressed like a cop. No reason why he's dressed like a cop. He just likes to dress like a cop. Yeah. Who's just there to bribe or extort the money from the spa. There's
the fucking cookie-eyed dog people. Like, what the hell? And they appear from a painting or a drawing. Like they peek out of two-dimensional surface, and yet they're kind of real. And they present things to characters within the narrative, and then they go away. Like, I don't know. It's almost like an exercise. It's not almost. It's an exercise in surrealism. And how, again, these stupid things called words, they're not doing this book any justice. But you'll feel it. You'll. The drawings in this thing are very affecting.
Especially if you're a fan of Junji Ito.
Yeah. It's in the same ballpark.
There is. Yeah. I mean, it kind of was described as like, a David Lynch meets the Junji Ito.
Yeah, I hate the fact that I used Inland Empire, because using Lynchian to describe this stuff, that's like low-hanging fruit. Duh.
Okay.
You know what I mean. Like, it's right on the back cover. It says Junji Ito and David Lynch.
Yeah.
So the publisher themselves used that comparison.
So it's an absolute O-Rama. It's a Silver Sprocket-O-Rama.
Yeah.
And it's a debut O-Rama because not only the Confessional, but also Spa.
Yeah. I can't cross-pollinate like that. If I'm going to... Nah, you know what I mean. If I'm going to use the Spa... Nah. Because then I got to... Then what am I going to say? Silver Sprocket-O-Rama, list them, and then say, and it's taking this other thing from the Silver Sprocket-O-Rama and making a debut O-Rama. And
so we're diluting the O-Ramas. No,
yeah,
you're right.
it's
That's
convoluted.
Fine. That's fine.
It's convoluted.
If it was a different publisher...
I say the more O-Ramas, the better. I mean...
Well, you would.
I mean, No, if it was a different publisher, then... And we had two debuts, that'd be one thing. But I get what you're saying, Vince. I may not be fully on board, but I can appreciate your reservation.
There you go. How about that?
Save the O-Rama for your mama, you know?
That's right.
Yes. Oh, we love you so much, people. So much. And we thank you for listening to this, because we're sponsored by cheapgraphicnovels.com.
Yes.
Everything you want with a spine is available at cheapgraphicnovels.com for a fraction of the retail price. Remember, up to 90% off in their spring sale. All those specials that Dap mentioned in that list, plus free shipping on your second order if you're a first-time customer. You can't go wrong. I don't know what else to say, right? And if you've listened to this, well, you probably did, but wherever you listen to this, so whatever podcast catcher you employ, please leave us a review. It helps out a lot. We want to crush the competition because we're better. So give us a review.
Enjoy the lamentations of the women, crush the competition.
Yes. Thanks, Conan. And what else? Oh, yes. Check out our Patreon page. Patreon.com/11o'clockcomics. We'd love to have you in the family. $5 gets you a bonus episode and the catch-all episode of hours and hours and hours of audio detritus for your listening pleasure. $10 gets you all that and access to the Slack. So we'd love to have you. Open arms. Steve Perry said it best. Mm-hmm. Open arms, baby. In your travels, I want you to read Savage Dragon. I've never, ever, ever said that in the history of this podcast. This is 276? Yeah. Savage Dragon 276. Malcolm and Company. Angel. I don't want to reveal too much in case you didn't read Savage Dragon 275, but shit went down in 275. So Malcolm and Angel and Company are on a rescue mission, right? Which leaves young Amy and Walter, the Tiger Man, at home to entertain themselves. And they do. They do entertain themselves. But I'm not going to get into it because the most noteworthy part of this issue is a single panel where Erik, who is not reluctant to reveal his political leanings, draws an Elon Musk character making the salute, and there's a bright yellow arrow pointing to it saying, "Awkward Nazi salute." So you get superheroics done by one of the masters of the form, political commentary of sorts, and there's not too much. Yeah, there's blood in this one because the person doing it's not specifically Elon Musk, but it might as well be. He gets blown to smithereens in a very graphic manner, but it's basically an adventure with Amy and Walter. Amy and Walter are joined at the hip. They're very fond of each other. So this is more like a downtime issue where the principal players are often there's Russians involved. It's Erik. He's not going to hold back. So they're on a rescue mission, and there's a backup feature called I can never pronounce this character's name. Serena, but it's Serena, but it's an aquatic character, and Aquaria, that's her name. So it's Jason would like it because there's like shark characters, and aquatic characters, and it's a lot of water. So Jason's down with it. But
yes,
read Savage Dragon. That's not a hard sell. It's month after month after month, and there have been a lot of consecutive months where Savage Dragon is just like a on-time delight every time it's published. There's no nudity in this one because it's Amy. Aww. No, it's Amy. She's a kid. She gets her clothes blown off, but Erik is very, very cautious to not show you any preteen naughty bits. He's a smart dude. And Walter gives him his hoodie. So she's not naked at all. Very, she's covered up. It's good stuff. Read it. Savage Dragon. 276. I really want to talk about 275, but I can't. Because if you didn't read it, it's there's a couple big to-dos in it. Like really big to-dos in it. He wrapped up the Mr. Glum thing really quickly, too. I thought that was going to go on for a while, but Eric's like, nope, not dragging it out, ending it. Let's move on. That issue has a lot of nasty bits. Because Angel's in Dimension X, and there's these monsters that attack her, and they start ripping her clothes off, and not a whole lot of stuff left to the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Tentacle porn.
Poker.
The women's nasty bits. Very beautifully delineated. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Renaissance. Savage Dragon.
Love it.
Nice.
Yep.
Something that I just decided to flip through, which was because I saw Garth Ennis' name attached to it. It's the kids. It's a one shot, and it's basically the gist is every newborn, every baby, is a full-blown adult. The main characters, Matty and his Leo and his wife, they're putting their toddler Ivan in his crib. Their older son Matty is hanging out with mom and dad for a little bit before heading to bed, and then everybody goes to bed, and the baby monitor goes off, and they respond to it. And they see a grown-ass man wrapped around with a broken and busted crib wrapped all around him. And they have no idea who the hell this guy is and where their baby is. And the man isn't saying much except, making like baby gargle noises. And lunges at, they go to ask questions. But the man flails about, and so they end up, and then he grabs the lady's breast, and as if he wants it. So they push him back into the bedroom, close the door, and run into the house, and that's when they see a whole bunch of shit going off. And you have, there's a whole lot of genitals in this book. You've just got like naked grown folks running through the streets and making weird ass noises. Nobody's saying anything, and it's pretty much determined that all these grown-ups were moments ago newborns, and their neighbor Hannah, who they claim is a witch, she helps the family get away, and they're heading to. They're just trying to find some place to go. They do end up. I'm not going to go into everything that happens on their way to a hospital, but that's really where everything goes really wild because the hospital, the neonatal unit, everything that has to do with a hospital and babies, like this was the wrong place to go to. It's like walking into a cemetery in The Walking Dead. It's just like, why are you here? So, but there's a Hannah is she an old lady, but she's smart as hell. She is basically, if you want to get away from these, kids are stupid. They don't know things yet. They just run downstairs like they're Daleks. They're just like, okay, we're gonna get away from the kids by like just walking a few steps down these stairs, so they can't because they're at the edge. They don't want to fall. It's clever, and I appreciate Garth's take on this, and how it wraps up is interesting. I'm not gonna call it a cop out, but it makes sense based on the actions that happen, I guess. But it's weird. It's wild. The art by Dalibor, Talajic, I'm going to say, who's worked with Garth on other things in the past. It's kind of not quite a Derek Russ mashup, but it's in that vein. Garth tends to work with similar artists at times, or artists with similar aesthetics. But this was weird, and like I said, it was wild, and I really enjoyed it more than I thought I did, than I thought I would. I did have fun with it. It's The Kids, published by Image under their Ninth Circle imprint, by Garth and Dalibor, and yeah, that's my new travels.
Nice. In my inner travels is from our good friends at Fantagraphics, and it is the hardcover collection of Josh Pettinger's Tedward.
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken, Vince, Josh Pettinger does some stuff or did some stuff with your boy from Megan. Like he did the
Hanselman.
Yeah, he worked with Hanselman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I also believe that he's in the Josh anthology that Bayer was a part of. Like everybody's name is Josh. Right.
Yeah. You're right.
Don't go too deep on this because I have it.
No, well, unfortunately, this is not the kind of thing that, like, Tedward is a by Pettinger's own description, a blockhead with a heart of gold, a raw talent for making bad situations worse, and a susceptibility to temptation, exploitation, and misplaced trust that continually lands him in hot water. And it's a collection of he did this in over a period of years in single comic, hand printed, hand stapled form, and this is a hardcover collection of all that. So it's anthological in that it's a bunch of separate stories about Tedward, who's this kind of lovable loser. It's a pretty simple equation here. I mean, if you're a fan of Charles Burns, if you're a fan of Noah's Fanta Bukowski, if you're a fan of like Jeffrey Brown's autobio stuff, I think you'll enjoy this. This is more on the absurd end of that spectrum, where like Tedward is really socially awkward. Like in tone, it's more like Nick Dernasso, but like with a bit more of a humor tinge to it. Like he just ends up. If he was to be in the real world, you'd think he's on the spectrum because he just is pretty awkward. He says weird shit. He sees the world in weirdly, and that ends up getting him in some really like cringe situations. Not the least of which is getting talked into taking a job where his job is to power wash jizz off of people during an orgy. But like, there's just all these little different stories and anecdotes that are comical and certainly X or R rated depending. And it was fun. It was fun and a really light read. Again, this is not too deep. There's no deeper meaning here. There's no layering of story. It's just, Josh telling stories about this funny weird dude who has kind of a strange life full of awkward sexual and like and personal mishaps. So yeah, so but it's Tedward, Fanta, like I said, and as always, they do a great job with the book. There's tons of spot varnish on it, and it was fun. So I'll leave it at that since Vince hasn't read it yet and he wants to, and it's definitely worth the read.
I would take that job.
I know you would.
I would take it.
It looked like a fun job. I mean, not for Tedward, but yeah.
Why not?
I'd be down for that.
All right.
I tell you, O-Rama, too.
Yeah. Wow, that's an O-Rama I can get behind. Junko-Rama. Okay. Hey, everybody.
There you go.
Do yourself a huge favor. Primetime Comics. Get yourself to a comic shop, online or physical. Buy a whole mess of comics. Read them. You'll love them, and you'll want to talk about them with people. So go on some kind of social media and just strike up a conversation with like-minded individuals. And you know what? We have a Slack, so you could do that too. I'm just saying, we love comics, you love comics, match made in heaven. In the meantime, do all that and then say goodnight.
Oh, sucky. Oh, yeah. Make it clap.
Yep.
One time now. Let's go.
David. Oh, it went away. Oh, it's back.
David.
Nice. Good job. We love you so much.
So much.
So much. Tell them you love them.
I love them.
Wow, that's...
Sorry, I'm mesmerized by your music.
It's Laurie Anderson. You've never heard Oh Superman?
I don't know that I have.
We need to rectify this. Well, you're hearing it now, but you need to hear the whole thing. Masterpiece.
All right.
Way ahead of her time.
1981.
Yes. How she ever put up with Lou Reed, I don't know. But she did. We love you.
That's it for that one.